Good morning. It is you and me, but mostly me. A lot of you. It's the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, the day after Black Tuesday. We got Black Monday. We broke all of that down yesterday, and in the middle of my day, the news breaks that John Harbaugh is fired by the Baltimore Ravens. 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910. You can get involved in the Drake Toll Show. Call or text. We will talk Lane Kiffin. We will talk Bo Nix and Drake Maye. After yesterday, Kevin Harlan came on this show, and Kevin said that those two quarterbacks are transforming the league, bringing us into a new era. We will have our obituaries. Tim Barbalace joins the show to talk the firing of John Harbaugh. Roy Philpott will be on the Drake Toll Show. And our idiots of the day are once again innumerable, including not the Las Vegas Athletics, because they cannot be called that. But I would be an idiot myself if I did not open this show with the firing of John Harbaugh. I'm Drake Toll from the Savannah Bananas organization, Locked On Big 12, college football kickoff on Amazon Fire TV. Here's what happens yesterday. I go to Dallas to film a TV show. Fire TV's college football kickoff, actually. Middle of the day, I get a phone call. They've double booked the studio. The studio in Dallas is double booked. They can't do the TV show. So I'm stranded there. Decided to go to lunch with my good friend, TCU legend Gary Patterson. We're sitting at lunch, middle of the meal. John Harbaugh gets fired. Hey, Coach. The Ravens fired John Harbaugh. Coach Patterson, good friend of John Harbaugh, could not believe it. Stunned. We're eating pork chops like 2 blocks from his house. Could not believe it. Threw up in my beer. Harbaugh out as the Ravens coach after missing the postseason. And immediately, 7 teams called him. Which what you're wondering is, aren't there only 6 head coaching vacancies outside of Baltimore? Yes. Yes. 6 organizations that are looking for head coaches, and one who currently has a head coach. I'd love to find out. I'm sure eventually we will. One could only hope it's the Jets. Jets fans could only hope that it is the Jets. Those organizations reached out to John Harbaugh about head coaching vacancies or the opportunity to create a vacancy for John Harbaugh. Do you think he was the issue? You think the 18-year guy was the issue? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is reminiscent of Steve Jobs and the Scully betrayal. Steve Jobs personally recruited PepsiCo's John Scully. He wanted him at Apple, and he gave him the line, that this is the famous line. Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world? By 1985, though, the problem was perfectionism for Steve Jobs. He wanted everything done his way, and he had the idea of how he wanted to see it executed, and he couldn't veer from that. The Macintosh's disappointment. Early on, people don't remember the Macintosh wasn't jumping off shelves from day one. It created a massive rift between Scully, who was brought in by Jobs, and Jobs, the founder of Apple himself. Jobs then attempted to stage his own boardroom coup while Scully was traveling. But as soon as he found out, he was confronted. Scully confronted him in front of the board, and the board decided, we're going to side. Not with Steve Jobs, but with John Scully, the PepsiCo new guy. They would immediately take away Jobs' operational duties. He was no longer the head of the Macintosh division, and he was relegated. He was sent to Siberia. He was a figurehead. He was marginalized by his own company that he built because the board wanted to side with the new guy. The board didn't want to deal with Steve Jobs anymore. From 1985 to 1997, Apple became a bureaucracy. They released the Apple Newton. I go, what's the Apple Newton? Exactly. You don't know. The Pippin, They released a gaming console, the Pippin and the Performa. By the mid-90s, everyone's out on Apple. They're hemorrhaging money. They're losing to Microsoft. Microsoft is blowing up, and there is Steve Jobs, the guy who built this whole thing, in the corner going, can I please operate this again? Apple would then buy Steve Jobs' new company. Steve Jobs starts a new company so successful called Next that Apple has to go buy it in 1996. Then Jobs returns to Apple as the interim CEO, paid the toll on the existing culture. 70% of Apple's product line was immediately killed when they brought him back, including the Newton. No more Pippin, their gaming console. He said, we're going to focus on computers. We're going to streamline. We're going to build the Mac, the iPod, and the iPhone. You've heard of all of those things. Steve Jobs did them. Lamar Jackson is John Scully. And in this situation, John Harbaugh is Steve Jobs. Now, yes, what you're saying to yourself is correct. It is an insane thing to do to wake up at 5 in the morning, get on a national radio show, the Drake Toll Show, at 6, and tell you John Harbaugh is Steve Jobs. That is a lot. That's fairly extreme. No doubt. But in this analogy, it's what it is. He brought in the other guy. He brought in Lamar Jackson to compete. And there are organizations asking themselves right now, are we ruining the window of a very good quarterback, of an MVP caliber quarterback? You're wondering with Zach Taylor and the Bengals, are they losing their window of Joe Burrow being elite? And if they do not win now, how much time do they ultimately have with Joe Burrow? Are you losing the window to win in the postseason with Josh Allen in Buffalo? Are you seeing the window close on Lamar Jackson being an MVP quarterback that can go to the postseason and possibly win the Super Bowl? That is a question that got John Harbaugh fired. The Ravens want to win. They want to win the Super Bowl. They want to do it now. 18 years of winning. 18 years taking his team to the postseason. And if you are not an NFL casual, if you actually watch the National Football League, you will know. If you're a fan of a team in the National Football League, you will know how fragile these franchises can be, how fragile winning is. You go from having success in 1 year to the next season losing it all. Next year, we could see the New England Patriots go 8-9. We could see the Jacksonville Jaguars go 8-9, and you lose the progress you thought you had as a fan. Yet you have organizations like Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Cleveland complaining to the point, Cleveland and Baltimore, where they will replace their head coach. On the flip side, maybe this is what the organization saw. I'm going to give you a comparison. Coach A and Coach B. Coach A, a 62% career winning percentage. Coach B, a 61.9% career winning percentage. Back to Coach A, 16 seasons as a head coach. He is 63 years old. Coach B, 17 seasons as a head coach, 62 years old. To Coach A we go. He is 12-10 in the playoffs, whereas Coach B is 11-11, but Coach B has 7 division titles to Coach A's 5. Each of these guys has a Super Bowl victory, both Coach A and Coach B. Coach A, with a slightly better win percentage, one less season as a head coach, a year older than Coach B, one more playoff win, 2 fewer division titles. That's John Harbaugh. Coach B is Mike McCarthy. And this is either a case of us looking at the NFL and saying, oh, sorry, Mike McCarthy. We didn't respect you for winning the way that you won. By the way, the Dallas Cowboys are one of the top 3 winningest organizations in the 2020s in the NFC because of Mike McCarthy. But it's not what you do for me in the regular season. It's, can you win the Super Bowl? Will you win the Super Bowl? Will you take the lack of what we give you and go win the Super Bowl? Will this year? I mean, what's even crazier is there is a real human being, Tyler Loop, who saw this news yesterday. He was probably not with Gary Patterson at a restaurant eating a pork chop. He saw this news like, oh no. Oh, the rookie, the kid out of Arizona. If his field goal goes through the uprights, John Harbaugh still has a job today. Oh, no. He got his boss fired. And his boss is a statue guy, a Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl head coach. If he kicks the ball through the uprights, the other coach, the rival coach in your division, Mike Tomlin, is probably fired. And look, Tomlin, there could still be a change with Tomlin come next Monday night, next Tuesday, after the Steelers and the Houston Texans kick off Monday evening. That's still a possibility. But in the meantime, Tomlin's bought himself at least a week because Tyler Loop kicked the ball wide right, and John Harbaugh got fired. You already can't sleep. The fan base already hates you. People, we mentioned it yesterday on our Idiots of the Day on the Drake Toll show, that people are telling Tyler Loop that he doesn't deserve to play in the league ever again. We're going real far. We're taking it to the extreme, telling him he doesn't deserve to play ever again. But, as bad as that must feel, keeping your team out of the postseason, seeing your head coach fired in the wake of that, and knowing that you were 3 feet away. If your kick was 3 feet to your left, you're good. You're in the playoffs. Your head coach is still there. Now he's gone. He had signed a 3-year deal. He was under contract through 2028. Harbaugh will be owed money. The organization called it incredibly difficult. A Hall of Fame coaching career. Super Bowl championship to Baltimore. Steadfast humility, leadership. These are quotes from the owner. His family, they've embedded themselves in the community. Profound contributions on and off the field. Forever grateful. How do those words, how does that group of sentences, how does that syntax end in, also we're firing him? Well, because it's championships. We strive to consistently perform at the highest level on the field. We'll always be grateful. He's ingrained himself in the community, on and off the field. All right. I want you to be very careful what you ask for here as the Baltimore Ravens. I want you to be very careful because the grass is not always greener. Moving on from Steve Jobs and trusting John Scully, who is Lamar Jackson, trusting Lamar Jackson to go win with whatever head coach is next, I'm just asking you to be careful. And if Kevin Stefanski is not the guy on the phone right now, who else is? Hopefully not Mike McCarthy. Don't do the Mike McCarthy thing. You just fired John Harbaugh for being Mike McCarthy. Black Monday, Black Tuesday, and a gift to a lot of fans, a gift to a lot of people to see their least favorite coaches and coordinators fired. But John Harbaugh, just not enough postseason success. Not enough Super Bowls for the liking of the Baltimore Ravens. And then that's it. Doesn't run Derrick Henry with a timeout in his pocket, 12 seconds to go to make the kick a little bit easier for Loop, and that's it. He's fired. Coming up on today's show, Lane Kiffin will only allow some of his LSU assistants to coach at Ole Miss. What does that sentence even mean? What is that sentence? It's just a wild sentence to come out of my mouth. What does it mean? Why is it happening? And why is Lane Kiffin one of the biggest losers today? Also a big loser, Parker Livingston in the transfer portal. Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, who is fired. The Commanders have fired both coordinators. Say goodbye. Dan Quinn is not playing around. All of that and plenty more, as well as Kevin Harlan saying that Bo Nix and Drake Maye have transformed the NFL. Bo Nix transformed The NFL? I didn't say it. Kevin Harlan did. Here's why he's right. All of that up next on the Drake Toll Show.
Go on trial just for laughing at the joke, just for saying of the bargain what any sales girl already knows. Most of us old men die at the firing line, just waiting for our number to be called. I guess time just makes fools of us all. Now the king gets his stepson when he's loaded as a gun. Says a real man is like a country. You need a map to find your one. Now I do you suppose you must approach the throne with its back up against the wall. I guess time just makes fools of us all. Minds of my generation gladly conscripted in the war of defending any Goliath that would deign darken the door. Now with your genius for picking battles, it's no wonder every helmet is too small. I guess time just makes fools of us all. I guess time just makes fools of us all. My drink is watered down. The champ is on his knees. He lost the rematch. He lost the comeback. He lost for charity, but that's the job. It's what gets the asses in the hall. They came for a beating, and he came to brawl. Notice that of all the young gods I have known, yours is easily the least famous to turn down the cover of a Rolling Stone. Lily white faces, so familiar and yet impossible to recall. I guess time just makes fools of us all. After a millennia of good times, got God said, hey man, let's have a dream where we raise the stakes a little. Come on, let's make things interesting. Parachute into the Anthropocene. And me.
You're up.
Good morning. Oh. Or if you're listening back on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, any of the above, good day to you. Drake Toll on the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app as well. John Ramos is out there. Spencer. My friend Dan from Canada. Listeners from across the world. The Philippines. Listening to the Drake Toll Show. Drake Toll with you from the Savannah Bananas organization. Locked on Big 12. Amazon Fire TV's college football kickoff. Baltimore, you may be in Baltimore right now thinking, where do we go next? What do we do next? Was it time for John Harbaugh to go? He was just Mike McCarthy. And the answer could be yes. What if the Drake Toll guy is wrong? It would be the first time, yeah. But what if he's wrong? What if this is the right move? What if I'm happy that John Harbaugh is out and war is over in Baltimore? What if you're excited? John Harbaugh, who had 12 playoff appearances in 18 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens, is done. When the Arizona Cardinals have only had 11 playoff appearances and 106 seasons as a franchise. John Harbaugh has more of those in 18 years as the head coach of the Ravens. But maybe it was time for a change of scenery. Maybe it was time to move on. You know what I will never move on from? What you should be passionate about, what you should know about and have knowledge of when you go into the office today, when you take your kids to school. You're dropping your kids off at school, and there's the guy, it's that same guy. He's in the car line, and he's wearing the yellow vest, always says good morning to you. You cannot remember his name. Always says good morning. You're listening to the radio. And you get 1 second, one nugget you get to slip in there about sports to show him, hey, I know ball. I know what I'm talking about here. He would expect you to talk about John Harbaugh being fired, Matt Eberflus being fired. He would expect you to talk about Kevin Stefanski, Black Monday. I'm going to call it Black Tuesday because we saw another Hall of Fame coach go down after Pete Carroll was fired on Monday. What you should tell the guy in the yellow vest at the kids' school is that Lane Kiffin has gone too far. This is from NBC Sports. We are a day away from Ole Miss and Miami playing in the college football playoff semifinal. And the way this whole thing has gone down is Lane Kiffin is the head coach at Ole Miss. You know Lane Kiffin. Monty Kiffin's son, Monty Kiffin, defensive legend. Lane Kiffin in the NFL, coaches for the Raiders. In college football, Tennessee, USC, FAU, people forget. Ole Miss, now LSU. They did a whole documentary, The Book of Lane Kiffin, about how he's changed. He's a better man. He does Pilates now. And he's asked his coaching staff at LSU, the guys who he's poached from Ole Miss, when he leaves that university, he asks his staff, he says, hey, can you just not coach Ole Miss? Can you just not compete in the playoffs anymore, please? Can you come focus on your jobs here? But the big problem is he didn't do that before the playoff run. He didn't do that before things kicked off in the postseason. He didn't do it afterward. In the middle of this, he is puppeteering who can and cannot coach Ole Miss with a shot at a national championship on the line. Per ESPN, Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, and the running backs coach, Kevin Smith, will remain on loan for the next round of the playoffs. Who's to say they'll coach the national championship if Ole Miss is to beat Miami tomorrow? We don't know. And you know, the only human being who does know is their boss, Lane Kiffin at LSU. Those guys have been hired by Louisiana State University. Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator at Ole Miss, is now the head coach, and it worked out pretty well when they beat Georgia last week. But the entire fan base is wondering, what will Lane Kiffin allow our coaches to do? Six guys were on loan from LSU to Ole Miss to continue this run. And now we only know confirmed of 2 of them that will be allowed to remain coaching. Do you understand? Those 6 guys all coached Ole Miss against Georgia, and 4 of them might just not be there tomorrow when Miami and Ole Miss kick off. Tight end coach, co-offensive coordinator Joe Cox, receivers coach, passing game coordinator George McDonald. They're gone officially to LSU. Lane said, I can't take this anymore. I can't take all the winning that Ole Miss is doing without me. Please, you're my coaches that I've hired here. Just come on back now. Come have a seat. We're doing this together at LSU. You're done competing for a national championship. Can you imagine? I work for the Savannah Bananas. And in the Banana Ball Championship League, the BBCL, in the BBCL, you don't ever see Ryan Howard, the assistant coach for the that Ryan Howard, who coaches in Banana Ball, the assistant coach for the Indianapolis Clowns. You don't see him go over to the Loco Beach Coconuts and say, hey, Shane Victorino, can you come help me coach over here for a little bit? That's right, Shane Victorino. You know that name. He coaches also in Banana Ball. It doesn't work like that in the Savannah Bananas League. You can't loan coaches. You can't tell a coach, hey, you're not allowed to coach in the postseason. I'm not going to let you. You, assistant coach, can't coach in the postseason because I don't want you to, because I'm tired of the success that I am seeing you have with an organization, with a team, with an offense, with a defense, not led by me. I'm not getting the credit I deserve. I want you guys to come over here and do the thing that I want you to do. And this reminds me of Marcus Licinius Crassus. Follow me. I trust, if you follow me, that you'll be given a nugget of information you did not know, and that will change your perspective on Lane Kiffin and change your perspective on the new era of college football. Man, I like that show. It's pretty good. But then he started bringing up Marcus Licinius Crassus, and I got a bit confused. No, don't. You don't have to be confused. Follow me. The wealthy bragger. Crassus famously claimed that, quote, no man is rich who cannot support an army on his own income. Well, I, Drake Toll of the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, must not be rich. I cannot support my own army. But Crassus could. Built his fortune through fire brigade tactics. Listen to this. He would buy burning buildings for pennies on the dollar. While they're on fire, he'd say, hey, give me that. I want that. Then, Crassus, the man who had his own private fire corps, would send them in, put out the flames. He'd rebuild whatever part of the house is on fire, and he'd sell it off. I would go as far to say as Crassus may have set some of the fires himself. Does it sound like Lane Kiffin yet? Does it sound like Lane Kiffin yet? The fire brigade that he owns, buying buildings for pennies on the dollar that are on fire, then putting out the fire. It's the only way you can get the fire put out is to please Crassus. And despite that wealth, he was so jealous. Who's this sound like? Who's this sound like? He was jealous and wanted the bragging rights, the military bragging rights of Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. He wanted to be seen as a conqueror. I'm not just a financier. I'm a I am a military commander. So, he demanded a military. He wanted command of the East. Parthia. He was unqualified for this. He wasn't ready to be the commander in the East. He wasn't ready to be the commander of LSU, the biggest program in college football. During his march into Parthia, Crassus bragged about his inevitable victory. I'm going to win. Watch me. You'll see. You'll all see. I'm going to win. Ignored all the advice from everybody else. Did it his own way. Set more fires. Bought more homes. And then put the fire out with his own brigade. He would tell you of his greatness. He would tell you. And instead of choosing the normal path through the desert, he said, I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to do it my own way with my 40,000 legionaries. I'm going to take them in 53 BC, the Battle of Corre. And his selfishness leads those 40,000 into a tactical disaster where he's outmanned, outmaneuvered, and outwit against a smaller Parthian force, and the empire comes falling down. It is said that after his death, the Parthians poured molten gold down Cass's throat to mock him. Now, I'm not saying we should pour molten gold down Lane Kiffin's throat. That is not what I'm insinuating. It is that part of the story where I will digress. I won't hold us to that. But his death, Crassus that is, it did not just end his life. It destabilized the first triumvirate and led directly to the Roman Civil War. Lane Kiffin, it's crazy the parallels here. Again, sans the gold in your throat thing. We can throw that out. It's crazy the parallels here. Knowing that greed and ego are what brought Crassus down, but not only that, he's the guy that would set the fires. He's the guy that would buy cheap and sell high because he knew all. He had access. He had the money. Lane Kiffin has the money. He has the donors. He has the ability to do pretty much whatever he wants. The wealthy Lane Kiffin who said, I can do it with my army. I've won elsewhere. I win. That's what I do. I am greatness. Then he does a documentary. It's so wild. Middle of the football season, 2025. Lane Kiffin releases a documentary with ESPN that says, I've changed. I'm a different man. This is a new me, a new Lane. It's him and his ex-wife. They're co-parenting. While Lane is allegedly sending Snapchats to 20-something-year-old co-eds, young girlfriends, walking all around campus. I am I am a member of CAA, which is Lane Kiffin and Jimmy Sexton. He's the agent of a lot of these coaches. And the stories they tell about Lane Kiffin when I go to New York are incredible. The stories they tell about Kiffin and his love for the ladies, which he's pretty public about, by the way. I mean, you can just go on Twitter and find most of the screenshots from most of the conversations. Bragging about wealth, competing for glory, refusing counsel, doing whatever he wants. That led to Cassus being killed. That led to his downfall. That led to his 40,000 men being slain. And it just, I feel like at some point here for Lane Kiffin, that has to happen. At some point in his tenure at LSU, we're going to look at him and say, that's it. There it is. There's the downfall. You thought you could do it. You thought you could do it your own way. But it turns out you just weren't quite ready to compete with Julius Caesar. Kirby Smart is Julius Caesar in this scenario, by the way. So, when Ole Miss goes out and plays Miami, when the Rebels take on the Hurricanes, and they're down to like 2 offensive staffers, just their offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss, and like the running backs coach, or the tight ends coach, or whoever it is that Lane Kiffin allows to go coach them. I just want you to remember, and I want you to remember as you watch Lane Kiffin next year, Cassus, this ruler, this Roman ruler that led to the fall, the civil war of Rome in the late BCs. Because that's what Lane Kiffin is, on the precipice of the fall of his own personal Rome. Has to happen at some point, right? Feels like it's going to happen at some point. Not allowing coaches who built... would just never happen in the NFL. This would just never happen. You would never have a playoff run where Ben Johnson's like, hey, by the way, I am not going to allow Matt LaFleur to coach in this game. Like, what? He's not... What? Like, yeah, I mean, we have this whole pact. I'm hiring him, and he can't coach in this game. It's not a thing. It doesn't happen unless you're Lane Kiffin. And maybe it's just his world, and we're all living in it. Hey, you want to know a secret? Matt Eberflus got fired. These are human beings, and I'm a fan of human beings. I don't want to completely rain on their parade when they lose their job. I've been fired before. Many people have been fired. But Matt Eberflus is one of them. And I think it's good for the Dallas Cowboys. It's good for the National Football League. War is over in the Big D. But before that, I've got a list of the biggest losers. That's right, the biggest losers today. That's coming up next on the Drake Toll Show.
Bad.
Come on. Do you feel it? The opportunity that we have, the opportunity at sentience, the opportunity to wake up, to feel it. You slap the back of your hand, you touch yourself, and you realize, I'm alive. I feel. I breathe. I sense. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled. That made all the difference. It's the road less traveled, man. You didn't know. You didn't know when you were listening to Kevin Harlan. Those golden pipes. Wax poetic about an NFL game on Westwood One. You didn't know that years down the line, somewhere brewing, in a laboratory, a failed science experiment, was this guy who would later work for the Savannah Bananas, the Locked On Podcast Network. And now in the morning, you're listening to The Fan. You're like, that's weird. That's different. But somewhere along the way, we came to a head. You, me, Westwood One, surely Kevin Harlan, somehow. That brand, that name, that the Harvard of sports, you hear it and you think excellence. And this guy, the guy who wears a fur coat to his other job, who dances in a onesie for the Banana Ball Championship League, yeah, that guy. That guy watches sports. And I here's the deal, man, is I would turn the radio on, I would turn the TV on, I still turn it on, and I think, why again are we talking about the exact same thing and we can't talk about this still? Like, I want to come on, I want to see a radio show. You can't really see radio shows. I want to hear a radio show. I want to see a TV show that comes on and they say, hey, did you watch greatness between Houston and Texas Tech in basketball? Did you watch Texas A&M and Auburn and Stephen Pearl have to defend his team after they hit a mid-court buzzer beater to win it? They review it. The ball's still in his hands. Wave it off. Damon Williams, the quarterback at Washington, who decides, hey, I'm going to stay at Washington. I've signed a contract. I'm going to sign a contract in NIL for Washington. And it says, nope, I'm going in the transfer portal. Did you watch the Valonia Lady Eagles high school basketball game last night? You didn't. I know you didn't. But it's my question to the world is, where did that go? Where did we lose that somewhere along the way in radio and TV? Where did we lose I watched every game last night because I'm a fiend and I want to tell you about the things no one else is talking about. And I know, I get it, I understand. It's the thing that you and I have to come to an agreement on. There are the hits, there are the headlines, there are the things that happen. John Harbaugh gets fired. When the town of Rome, when the empire of Rome begins to burn, you've probably got to talk about it before you get to the last segment and the Valonia Lady Eagles basketball game is on the docket. I understand that. But I turn on the TV, I turn on the radio, and it's John Harbaugh was fired today. And then after that, just slop. Can somebody tell me John Harbaugh is Steve Jobs? Can somebody just say that and then say that John Scully is Lamar Jackson? That's what this is. That's what it's for. You and me and you going to work and you're sitting in your office. I would sit in 7th grade. I would sit in 7th grade and keyboarding, and I would listen to the radio, listen to talk radio. And sometimes it was politics. Sometimes it was sports. All the same show was supposed to be sports, but it would get off the rails. That teacher in that class in 7th grade that let me listen to the radio, by the way, got fired. Yeah. Nefarious stuff with a coworker. Can't do it. Don't do it. If there's anything you take away from today's show, if there's you're dropping the kids off and there's the guy in the yellow vest, again, always makes a sweet comment to you. Every morning he says something nice. You cannot remember his name for the life of you. Christmas time rolls around. He dresses up like an elf to get the car riders out of the vehicles and into the school. If you could give that guy one piece of advice, if there's one takeaway from today, nothing nefarious from teacher to teacher. Don't do that because it will end poorly. Do appreciate the opportunity to listen to the radio in class, though. Which got us here to our biggest losers of the day. Roll music. Yeah. It was not a very long vetting process for which music track we were going to use for this. Will we have to go back to the drawing board? Maybe. We're going to try it out, though. Biggest loser, Matt Nagy. Bang! Bang! Adam Leviton tweets, in the Patrick Mahomes era, 2018 and on, the Chiefs have finished yards per play first in 2018, then second again, first, then first again in 2022. So in those 5 years, either number one or number two. 2023, the Matt Nagy era begins. They finished 9th in yards per play. 2024, they finished 22nd. 2025, they finished 23rd. I'm not saying Eric Bieniemy was the answer, but he's got this like General George S. Patton thing to him. He's got this. I'll follow him into the Mediterranean. I'll follow him to the European theater. He's not worked out anywhere. Since Bieniemy left, he has not worked out anywhere. Had that cup of coffee at UCLA. Like a very, very confusing path that he decided to take. Ron Rivera, right? Decided to do that. What an odd experiment for that guy. Bieniemy could be the dude that walks through the doors and is like, hey, just kidding. I'm sorry. Give me a hug. I think the Chiefs would take it at this point. Parker Livingston. He is on the list of biggest losers. It's a total bait and switch. Do you remember, this was probably, oh my gosh, pushing 20 years ago. And there have been multiple instances of this. There have been multiple instances. But this is the one that I remember of the weather balloon kid. They were really worried that they were looking for days, that the kid had gotten a weather balloon and floated away, and they were trying to find, like the Air Force was hunting down the kid. All to find out that he was just in his parents' attic. The parents may have made it up for exposure. That's Parker Livingston. That kid grew up. He's Parker Livingston, the Texas wide receiver who is now an Oklahoma wide receiver. I may use this also for Idiot of the Day. This is Parker Livingston said this about the Red River rivalry. We have audio of what he said and why he chose Texas after that game was over. Parker, why did you choose to play at Texas?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you come here, you come to the game, you hear about the game, you're from Dallas, it's everywhere for, a month before the game even happens. I really think it helps out tremendously in recruiting. It's a great reason. My senior year, I came here to the game, and it was an unbelievable atmosphere, and I was like, I want to play in the burnt orange. I want to be on the right side.
Yep. Nice. Good stuff there, big guy. Goes to the World a few days ago. Crying, screaming, throwing up. I'm entering the transfer portal, not because I want to, because they made me. Never dreamed that I would leave this school that I love so much, that I want to play for, that I want to stay at. Can't end a sentence in a preposition. Sorry. At which I want to stay. And come to find out, he got offered like $500,000 or $600,000 to play there. Thought it was too little money. Slap in the face. Said, fine, I'll go elsewhere. The school didn't kick him out. He wasn't kicked off the team. He just didn't like his contract. That's what college athletics is. So he leaves his roommate. He is roommates with the Heisman favorite for 2026, Arch Manning. And they were roommates. And for $200,000 extra, you lose access to the Manning family. You lose your Rolls Royce or Bentley or Porsche, whatever they're giving the Texas players now. You lose access to the burnt orange, all to go to Oklahoma. To Boomer Sooner it. Oklahoma goes into Texas, grabs Parker Livingston per Pete Thamel. And the guy who had 29 catches, 516 yards, 6 touchdowns from Arch Manning, who was set up for next season to win next season, will go to OU. I don't think John Mateer has any eligibility left either. Huh. All right. Good luck, Parker Livingston. You made the entire country. You were the kid with the weather balloon. The whole country was worried about you. Man, this really sucks. This guy got screwed over. Turns out, no, he was in the attic the whole time. He just wasn't getting paid enough, he said. The Bengals, biggest losers. 17th overall pick, first-round pick, Shamar Stewart. Took him in the draft. Defensive prowess. We're going to build that unit. Come on, Joe Burrow. This defense is going to be good for you this year. First-round draft pick, Shamar Stewart. 5 tackles this season. 5. You in your car, you at the factory plant right now, we're 5 tackles away this year in the NFL from tying Shamar Stewart. You know who else had 5 tackles? Jamar Chase. The first-round draft pick for the Bengals had the exact same amount of tackles as Jamar Chase. And Shamar is supposed to play on defense. Finally, our last biggest loser. Pains me. I hate saying this because I do like him. I get it. I like the family. But it's Shedeur Sanders for being historically bad. Sanders had the worst QBR in the entire history of an NFL franchise this year. And that franchise is not a franchise you want to have the worst QBR ever of. Literally the Cleveland Browns. Anywhere else, like, hey, he had the worst QBR in Patriots history. Like, there were some bad ones in the 90s. But that's fine. Tom Brady had a great run. You know, or the recent organizations like Baltimore, Jacksonville. You're like, yeah, I get that. Nope. No. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback rating of 18.8. I can count that high. The worst all time. He was also on pace. They stopped the count. Stop the count. They ended the season, thankfully. He was on pace to throw the most interceptions ever by a rookie. That is historically bad. And he plays. Anytime you say historically bad for a guy who plays for the Cleveland Browns, it just doubles it. It doubles it. Coming up, our obituaries from Matt Eberflus to half of the Washington Commanders staff that got fired and will also possibly be head coaches in the NFL, maybe. Also, our idiots of the day, Damon Williams, the Washington transfer, who had his whole contract laid out for him and then is transferring, ? Said he was coming back and is not. You will get plenty of that, but I have to tell you, my excitement, my joy, my cup overfloweth because Matt Eberflus is gone. Here's why. It's a big thing for the Cowboys and could be step 1 in the million-step process, getting them back to glory, which they probably never will. It's Westwood One Sports, and this is the Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One Sports.
She just caught the Jamestown ferry. It's not a hot day, January, like she said it'd be if she ever left me. A case of gone was all she carried as she got on the Jamestown ferry. And she said that gone was all he'd ever be. I didn't think that she'd leave me after saying how much she need me, but the fact still remains. I'm sitting there all alone, missing the loving of my baby. Lord, it's about to drive me crazy. She was the sweetest piece of ever I've ever known. She just caught the Jamestown ferry. It's not a hot day, January, like she said it'd be if she ever left me. A case of gone was all she carried as she got on the Jamestown ferry. And she said that gone was all she'd ever be. As I walk through that valley of honky-tonks and bars, I remember how she'd hold me, comfort me with thought. She didn't cuss with every breath. She had a soothing southern drawl, made me feel like a man through it all. She just caught the Jamestown ferry. It's not a hot day, January, like she said it'd be if she ever left me.
Falcon 11 under center. Stafford lateral throw. Nakua far sideline 10. Block at the 5. To the goal line. Pylon. It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown for Nakua. And a touchdown pass for Stafford. And now the Rams an extra point away from tying the game on a quick lateral throw. An 11-yard touchdown catch and run with blockers ahead.
Yep.
Well, when I was young, my mama read me nursery rhymes beside my bed. And though they sounded mighty fine, they made no sense to me. Now that I am all grown up, it seems my nights have changed as such. So I went out and made me up a nursery rhyme for me. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. Hey diddle diddle, the man with the fiddle and the girl sing along with the tunes. Just do one more dance till you turn out the lights and you can shut down this saloon.
Here we go! Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Toll with you from the Savannah Bananas, Locked On Big 12. College football kickoff on Amazon Fire TV. And surely whatever else you want to offer. Why not? How many jobs is too many jobs? It doesn't matter. You know what's great? Westwood One Sports tackling 24/7 radio is that after this show, you bet Nick Kostos will come on. Do not blink. You will miss it. That is the kind of show. You've got to buckle your seatbelt. You're like, all right, Kostos, take us home. Give it to me. The first day of the Drake Toll show, this would have been last week, I listened to Nick Kostos right after the show. I was like, wow, I have to lead into that. Like it made me like, wow, the onus is on me to prepare you for Nick Kostos and you bet. Some of the best betting advice you can get, and a dude who's got electric energy. His analogies are top notch. Bleck and Abdallah after that. They aired Monday for the first time. A couple guys out of Chicago who have done a spectacular job. Abdallah, big fan of Yoo-Hoo out of a can. I thought that was an odd fact that we learned this week from Abdallah. Those two guys lead into Jim Rome. You kidding me, man? Jim Rome. Somebody called me the other day. They're like, I haven't heard Jim Rome in a couple years. Been looking for him, and now he's back. Westwood One. We're not talking about this enough. We're not making a big enough deal out of this. Jim Rome on the radio. Brad Evans.
Why would I be talking about Baylor?
Brad Evans, Pat Boyle, Linnell, Josh, and the weekend crew. It is just the conglomerate of people. And you know what? I see the comments. You know what happened? You and I need to let's have this conversation. I want to be transparent. I'm going to be open with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I said Texas Tech would beat Oregon. Over 3,000 people entered, whether it be direct messages or comments or, it's funny. I learned a couple years ago in sports, in media, and look, I'm about to cook. There is a sect of people in sports media who will be like, well, I don't show up to your job at the car dealership and tell you how bad you are. Well, I don't show up to your job at the accounting firm and tell you how bad you are. Yet in the comment section, and I don't care. You say whatever you want. That's the beauty of sports. It's the beauty of dialogue about sports. It's the beauty of being wrong about sports. It's the beauty of believing in something so much and that thing doesn't happen. You don't have to nail it every time. And if you think that it stinks, if you think that it's wrong, if you want to comment, that's what public forums are for. That's what the art of sports is for. That's what radio is for. I love it. It's why there's a phone line. It's why there's a text line to say this guy is an idiot. 310-840-4910, by the way. 310-840-4910. That's the beauty of this whole thing. And so I saw it. I saw the comments. I saw the people that were like, what? Who, what? It's Jim Rome and who else? I get it. I understand. The onus is on us. Second time onus has been used in this hour, by the way. It's 5 minutes into the hour. It is on us to build. To prove to you that you listening is worth your time. That this is a valuable investment. You understand that this is 3 hours, and you may come and go. You may be in here for 4 minutes. You may be in here for an hour and a half. All 3 hours. If you want to be in here all 3 hours, that's awesome too. And the 3 hours that I give you, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste your time. I want you and I to become friends. Forcing upon you this friendship. It's an honor to be in a lineup with those guys. And if you're wondering, who are they? I don't really know all those names outside of Jim Rome. Great. Welcome. That's what it's for. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. That's why it's happening. It's because I'm tired. I'm tired. You turn the radio on. You turn the TV on. You turn the radio on. I just want something different and new, and we got it. And that's a great segue. On the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One app, to go into our obituaries. Curtis, can I hear the gong, please? Thank you. Curtis Poindexter runs the board in California. Obituary number 1, rest in peace, Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. He is not dead. Rest in peace, his title as Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. It's done. It's over. War is over. Give Jerry Jones the Nobel Peace Prize. Matt Eberflus ends the season with the worst passing defense in the NFL. Middle of the pack in the rushing defense category, fine. Worst red zone conversion percentage allowed. Worst third down defense in the NFL. Top 5 in most points allowed. Absolute ass. That's it. There's the one. I get one swear word per week. When I went to Baylor, when I was in college Baylor, there we were only given one hell per semester. You could use one.
Why would
say
we be
hell
talking about Baylor?
one time. Matt Eberflus is done. Reminiscent of the Beatles. Pete Best. You ever heard of Pete Best? Probably. It's the most correct firing in history. Pete Best was the drummer for the Beatles. George Martin was like, I can't. No. Pete Best is not good enough to be the Beatles. Fire him. He's not up to studio standards. So you know what? You know what the Beatles did? They fired Pete Best and they hired a man named Ringo Starr. Terribly tragic for Best, who got to see the Beatles rise to fame. But that Fab Four, baby, only happens if you fire Pete Best. Matt Eberflus is Pete Best. Is this the last domino before the Cowboys become the Beatles? Is this the domino before the Cowboys get back to being good? Probably not, because Jerry Jones is still there. In this scenario, Jerry Jones is like John Lennon. And John Lennon's been dead since 1980. That's what this feels like. It's like, Jerry Jones' efficiency as an owner and GM, that piece deserves its own obituary. It has been dead for a while now. But this is a step in the right direction. Matt, I don't want to relish anyone losing their jobs. These are human beings who make millions of dollars. But apologies to you. Dan Quinn, Mike Zimmer, Eberflus, who will be the next defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. 4 years, 4 DCs. Isn't that awesome? Also, obituary number 2. May they rest in peace. Washington Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. But for some reason, I'm being told he might be a head coach in the National Football League. Confusing, I know. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Dan Quinn decides to fire him, and then I'm being told by a couple sources he's now interviewing for head coaching jobs. Haven't we done this before? Haven't we seen Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach? Didn't really work out at Texas Tech.
Here we go again.
Didn't really work out at Arizona. We're going to do it again? All right. Let's also say rest in peace to Washington Commanders defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. Defense was bad. Last in yards, 27th in points. They're much better in 2024. 2025 sucked. Commanders from 12-5 to 5-12. Absolute. The drop-off. It's a Finding Nemo reference. The drop-off leads to both coordinators being fired, and the Commanders will move on. Dan Quinn, I commend you. Our obituaries today. Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. Again, not dead, but his career with the Cowboys is. And both coordinators, the Washington Commanders. We say rest in peace to those 3 coaches being in their respective jobs that they held in 2025 as we go into 2026. Time for the Quickie. It is the top 5 headlines of the day in sports. Addie Bates produces the show out of Washington, D.C. I have 1 minute to respond to each. Addie, are you ready?
Oh, of course I'm ready. And we're going to start with basketball. NBA, LeBron James and Luka Doncic each score 30 to help the Lakers hold off the Pelicans 111-103.
Yeah, man. People, what they won't tell you is the Lakers were down with 10 minutes to go in this game to the Pelicans. Pels, man. Remember that game a few weeks ago where LeBron James scored less than 10 points? And America said, oh, he's lost it. He's lost his touch. He had 38 and 8 last night. Pelicans are 8 and 30 now. Lakers 23 and 11. Down with 10 minutes to go to a bad team. You could have been the Spurs. The Spurs lost to a bad team. The Spurs lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. Gross. Throw up in my mouth. Gross. As someone who lived in the Dallas area for 5 years and just celebrated the firing of Matt Eberflus, anytime Luka Doncic does anything, just another little sad prick of my finger. That's a minute.
Is 30 points in a game good? Is that good?
Many are saying. Sources are telling me yes.
I've been hearing it's good. All right, let's go to women's basketball. Actually, 17-0. The Lady Longhorns, the Texas Longhorns' best start to a season since the 1986 championship season.
Yeah, this is maybe the best team in the country right now. I mentioned yesterday, 2 days ago, LSU, watching LSU and Vanderbilt. Very good game, two very good teams. I think everybody's just kind of playing to catch Texas at this point. I don't think they should be number 2. I don't think they should be number 2 in the AP poll. But what does the AP poll usually know? That's a question I'm going to ask for the rest of my life. Their strength of schedule is elite. Their non-conference was really solid. And in conference play, still plenty to prove. And they'll get to prove that on Sunday, January 11th at LSU. Appointment television. Have like 7 TVs ready. NFL playoffs, as well as Texas women's basketball. They beat UCLA by double digits earlier this year. They beat South Carolina. I think Texas is the team to beat the rest of the way. That's a minute.
Hook 'em. All righty, let's go to football now. Ole Miss quarterback is a little frustrated that the NCAA is yet to rule, still today, on his eligibility.
Yep. What does the NCAA do, I ask myself? What do those 4 letters mean? The answer is paperwork. They are a governing body. They are here so that if you are sued, you're not actually sued. The NCAA is sued, and that's how it all comes down. That's how you protect yourself, in essence. Yeah, I'm not shocked by this. There are plenty of fires that the NCAA is putting out. Trinidad Chambliss is on their list, surely. The quarterback at Ole Miss, I hope he gets an extra year of eligibility because I love watching him play. By the way, he is one of the few good stories, remaining good stories. Went to Ferris State, was really good at Ferris State, won a national championship there. And now at Ole Miss, he is proving you can move from the Division II level to Division I and become a Heisman-caliber quarterback. I'd love to see him back. I'm also rooting for Ole Miss, much to the chagrin of Lane Kiffin for 2026. Because of Lane Kiffin, I am rooting for Ole Miss. Give Trinidad another year. Give him another year. That's a minute.
This is probably my favorite headline of the day because someone last week was talking about the Colorado Avalanche and said if there's a team that's going to beat them, it's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. I forgot who said that, but the Tampa Bay Lightning hand Colorado their 4th regulation loss of the season, and the Bolts' winning streak is up to 8 games.
Yeah. I've been saying for a long time, Addie, and listeners of the Drake Toll Show will know that, man, I'm really impressed with what the Lightning have put together this year. Doubled up the Avalanche yesterday, by the way. 26-13-3 now for Tampa Bay. I mean, I've been saying it. Watch out for Tampa Bay. I've been saying it. The Avalanche could be fraudulent. I've told you that. I've told my parents that. I've told our listeners that. Lightning started ahead. Went into the third period, all tied up 2-2. They win it 4-2, double them up. That's a minute.
I believe Drake Toll said the Dallas Stars could take down the Avalanche.
It's all hockey to me.
That's okay. Addie baseball knower. I get it. All right, so let's actually flip over back to football. Kind of some sad news, kind of frightening here. Former Texas Longhorn star Jordan Shipley is in critical but stable condition after suffering severe burns in an accident on his ranch in Texas on Tuesday, his family said.
Wow. Huh. I remember watching Jordan Shipley at Texas when I was a younger chap. And really good player to watch. Really good in the NFL as well with Cincinnati. Thoughts with the Shipley family. Thoughts with Jordan. Texas legend. A Longhorn legend. Burnett High School in Texas. Wow. Ranch accident. Man, everybody in Texas has ranches. Everybody's got a ranch. Great wide receiver. Wish him the best. Critical but stable. Our thoughts are with you, Jordan Shipley. That's less than a minute. But that's Jordan Shipley. Thank you. Addie, that was fun. Nice job.
Thank you. Good job.
You're welcome.
Go Bolts.
Those are our 5 headlines. Those are the 5 minutes that you get with those. On the other side, 310-840-4910. The phone line is open for you. Yes, you. 310-840-4910. You can text or call to the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Maye, Bo Nix, Kevin Hartland says we're in a new era of the NFL. Is that true? Maybe. This is the Drake Toll Show.
The NFL AFC Wild
Hit the read.
Yeah. Auburn basketball fans threw trash yesterday onto the court at the officials as they walked off after a mid-court heave at the buzzer was drained, and upon review, the guy who hit it, his index finger was still on the ball when the clock hit 0. Wild, man. Wild. College basketball rocked last night. The NBA rocked, despite the Spurs losing to Memphis. LeBron dropping 30, Luka dropping 30. It was just a great time for sports. But there is nothing like what we're getting out of the NFL right now and the beauty of the National Football League. There are the people. Oh. I had a teacher in high school. Of course, it was political. Had a teacher in high school he'd like open class almost every Monday with, y'all watch the NFL? It sounded just like that, too. Y'all watch the NFL? I didn't. I'm not going to watch that crap. I'm not even going to watch it. They ain't getting a view out of me. He would say that every time. He fought in Africa? Not like on his own, like part of some sort of conflict. He had a lot of for a math teacher, had a lot of really weird stories. I'm partially sure most of them were true, I think. But he was the guy. Everybody knows that guy that they go on Facebook and every Monday. Like if they could take all the time they've spent complaining about the NFL, that has not hurt them and will never hurt them. It will never directly cause them harm. If they could just take all the time they've spent dissenting the NFL and put it into, I don't know, their family or learning how to play an instrument, maybe Tai Chi or meditation. How much better would your life be if we just stop complaining about things? I hate the NFL. I can't watch it. It's terrible. Well, you're wasting time saying that. For efficiency's sake, wake up. Stop. The NFL is fine. The NFL is great. You know why? Because there are new young stars. I'm going to say it's stars. That's the right word. Like Drake Maye and Bo Nix. This segment sponsored by Robinhood. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Expect better takes from your high school math teacher, too. I'm Drake Toll on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. You can call or text the show. Kevin Harlan called the show yesterday. My friend Kevin Harlan, Westwood One. Called the Drake Toll Show, asked him a myriad of questions from the Eagles winning the Super Bowl to what has changed about the NFL, what is new, what is fresh, and his response centered around two quarterbacks that have, he says, transformed the league.
And in the AFC, we've got two second-year quarterbacks that are taking the league by storm. Knicks in Denver, Drake Maye in New England, and in the regular season, both in their second NFL years, didn't disappoint. In fact, probably just expanded the reach of where a lot of people think they can take their teams here in the playoffs.
That's Kevin Harlan on the future of the National Football League, almost centering around Drake Maye and Bo Nix. The Broncos are 14-3. Harlan would also say that in his conversations with Sean Payton, even preseason, Sean Payton, Super Bowl champion Sean Payton, and by the way, he did it with the Saints, and I don't know if you remember this. If you're old enough, you will recall the Saints sucked for a really long time. The Saints winning a Super Bowl there for a bit was the equivalent of like, wow, I don't know, maybe not the Browns, that'd be a little bit too far. Maybe the Lions, because right, if you remember the NFL of the Barry Sanders era, the Lions aren't terrible to you. You're like, okay, the Lions aren't great. They're just this like perennially 7-9 team, perennially 500 team that had Barry Sanders. It's kind of what the Saints were. Archie Manning, they were just terrible for a long time. And then Sean Payton wins a Super Bowl there. That guy said the Broncos had all the keys, horses in the stable to win the Super Bowl this year. I believe him. When a guy like that says that, I believe he wasn't saying that his first year in Denver. This season, he's saying it. Drake Maye. Have you, stop me if you've heard this stat before. The Patriots had 4 wins last season. He has turned this thing completely around and won 14 games now this year. Have you heard that before? Everybody loves to tell me that Drake Maye and company, they've got the easiest schedule in the NFL. Oh, they cake schedule. Do you know? Do you understand? You cannot tell me they can't name a movie any given Sunday. You can't come in here and say, oh, your favorite team is the Rams, or your favorite team is the Texans, or your favorite team is the Dolphins, and the week that they beat the Jets, or the week that they beat the Browns. Like, well, any given Sunday. Well, come on, everybody. We won an NFL game. It's tough. That's hat on hat right there. Those guys are good. And then tell me that Drake Maye's schedule was so easy he doesn't deserve credit. What I'm watching with Bo Nix and Drake Maye reminds me of, drum roll please, not literally, you don't have to. Thank you, Curtis. He's running the audio. It reminds me of Nike and Under Armour. What? He's about to compare Nike and Under Armour to Bo Nix and Drake Maye? Click. Turn that off. Mute. Don't. Not yet. Nike existed when Under Armour came about and when Under Armour began its rise. Nike had already had market dominance. Then they faded away for a little bit. They were a powerhouse by the late 90s when Under Armour said, hey, hi. But they were fading. That's when Nike had its second great rise simultaneously with Under Armour's birth, and they grew together. And in this scenario, Bo Nix is Nike. I was listening to the radio this morning, and that guy compared Bo Nix to Nike, and I just don't think I like that. I understand. Partially crazy. But here's why. Because Bo Nix started 61 games in his college career. Bo Nix has already played an entire life of football. Auburn or Oregon. He's been around the block. He had his initial rise. You with me now? You're with me now. You see it. You see what I'm doing. He had his initial rise. Nike had its first rise. And then here comes... Because when Drake Maye was in college, you weren't watching Drake Maye. Don't even play around. I've got a buddy from college that loves it. Man, when Drake Maye was in college, I was telling people he's going to be the next big thing in the NFL. When he goes to the NFL, you better draft him in your dynasty league. You better. He's going to be really good. No one believed. Don't give me that unless you're a Carolina fan. Don't give me that. He is Under Armour. And Bo Nix, who's had this resurgence, this newfound career, is Nike. He's in his second rise. Nike's resurgence was driven by a transition from a footwear company to a lifestyle technology brand. That's what this is. Remember when Starter was so cool? I personally love Starter gear. I will buy anything Starter. It's got this vintage look to it now because Starter goes out of style. Remember Reebok? Reebok was cool once upon a time. New Balance, those were cool once upon a time. Josh Allen was cool once upon a time. His team has underperformed this year. Lamar Jackson was cool once upon a time. His team missed the playoffs, and his coach got fired. Patrick Mahomes was cool. Starter, wow, that was cool. His team also missed the playoffs, and it's a question mark whether or not Mahomes will be ready to start the year in 2026 come week 1 in the NFL, if he will be healthy. Those brands are great. And it's what has dominated. It's what we've seen. It's what we've known in the NFL. We've known Starter. We've known Reebok. We've known New Balance. But then Nike and Under Armour jump on the scene. And right now, that's what's hot. That's what's sexy. That's what's new. And if there are, I think, multiple camps of people who say the NFL is bad. I hate watching the NFL. And some of them, it's the political side. And then some of them are just like, I hate that people think that Bo Nix and Drake Maye are good. They're not good. Boss man, dog. Number 2 in fantasy points this year, Drake Maye. Number 7 in fantasy points, Bo Nix. Because stats don't do it for you. We all hate stats in the world. But everybody can kind of wrap their mind around fantasy points. 72% completion percentage from Drake Maye. 4,400 yards. Bo Nix, 4,000-yard passer in 2025. 31 touchdowns through the air for Drake Maye, 4 on the ground. Bo Nix, 25 touchdowns through the air, 5 on the ground. If you are not believing in these two quarterbacks, you're not, I don't think you're watching the NFL correctly. If you're thinking that these two guys are fool's gold and that they're just not that good, I don't think Bo Nix threw 612 passes this year. You cannot be bad and throw 612 passes and lead your team to a bye in the postseason. If you're leading your team to a bye in the postseason and throwing the ball that many times, you have got to be good. That's this argument that, Kevin Harlan just told you. Are you saying Kevin Harlan is wrong? That these two guys are welcoming us into a new era of the NFL, that they're making the NFL even better, that there is a changing of the guard of sorts happening right now. Can you imagine a year in which Jalen Hurts, he threw 454 passes this year. 600 for Bo Nix. By the way, Jalen Hurts is only 27 years old. So if you're like, man, I'm an Eagles fan, but between Hurts and Patullo, I can't take this much longer. You're going to have to take this a lot longer. A passer rating for Drake Maye, 129.4 in his 38-10 victory. So even the what have you done for me lately, he's done it for you. Bo Nix has done it for you. He just got the bye to the postseason. Kevin Harlan just gave it to you. The ascension of Nike, the ascension of Under Armour. Nike goes and signs Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Kevin Plank building Under Armour. The soggy t-shirt problem, we'll fix that. I got moisture-wicking compression shirts. Moisture-wicking fabric. We love that line, don't we? Dry fit. I got this dry fit deal. That was Under Armour. Forcing Nike to go into dry fit with moisture-wicking. Brand and utility, back and forth, the grit of the locker room through Under Armour, the style, the flash of Nike. Don't rest on your laurels. We're Nike. Rising tide lifted all boats between those two companies as Nike resurged and Under Armour was born. Drake Maye is born. Bo Nix, the guy who started 1 million games in his football career, the Nike of the NFL now, he's here. And if you're watching these games thinking, I don't get it. I don't believe in it. I don't think they're that good. You're not viewing it correctly. And I hope if anyone can convince you to be a wise sage of a football fan, it would be Kevin Harlan for telling us that Bo Nix, Drake Maye are good. Big day today. Big day today. John Harbaugh has been fired. Matt Eberflus has been fired. No more Cliff Kingsbury for the Commanders. Harbaugh's already gotten 7 calls. 7 teams have come down the line to talk whether or not he'll be their next head coach. Will he be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns? Will Harbaugh be the next coach of the Titans? So many endless possibilities, and endless talking points today across the country. Even college basketball, man. The NBA. Ugh. Addy wants to bring up the Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's great. It's great. It's January and it's sports. Coming up on the other side of the break, idiot of the day. I'll open the phone lines for this. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910 here on the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, the Drake Toll Show YouTube channel, because everybody has to have a YouTube now for their radio shows, because that's what they do in the modern era. Idiots of the day. The Las Vegas A's? No, I'm actually not legally allowed to even say that. It's trademarked. This is the Drake Toll Show.
It's a Sunday NFL.
masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, Lord, yeah.
Welcome back to the Drake Toll Show. Just around the corner, around the bend, Tim Barbalace will join the show. Ravens pregame show. He'll talk John Harbaugh being fired. Roy Philpott, ESPN, will talk college football playoff, as well as what is to come Saturday, Sunday, Monday in the NFL. I'm Drake Toll. This is the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. Are you ready? Have you buckled up mentally? Are you in a space where I can give you the idiots of the day?
Idiot of the day.
The Las Vegas Athletics? No, actually. Can't say it. Can't say it. FCC will get you. Big Brother is watching. From Front Office Sports, the A's have been denied trademarks for Las Vegas Athletics and Vegas Athletics by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. So who will they be? What will they be? Addie Bates, producer of The Drake Toll Show. You are an MLB aficionado. What say you, our idiots of the day? The A's could probably be the idiot. Aaron Glenn and the Athletics could be the idiots of the day every day. What say you on January 7th of this trademark snafu?
So maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like before you plan on relocating somewhere, your entire team, abandoning a fan base, you should probably see if you're able to call yourselves the team name that you've been for decades, right?
Do you remember when the Commanders rebranded, when they had the rebrand a few years ago, and they forgot to put curtains on the concourse of the stadium, and just all the Commanders, all of the Commanders signage was exposed?
Yes.
Do you also remember in that process how they trademarked, like, Bombers, Flyers, Commanders? They went in and did this whole process. That's how people knew the list of names, because they went ahead and already had it in the bag before they announced officially what they were going to be, so that they didn't run into this issue?
Yes.
And am I possibly correct in saying the formerly Oakland Athletics might not have very good ownership?
That is correct.
I've nailed it. 3 for 3. That's our first idiot of the day. That would be the not Las Vegas Athletics. It'll be whatever they're called and however they settle this dispute. The rumor has it, I cannot corroborate this, I would love for it to be true. It would be awesome to be true, that there is a group of fans, passionate Oakland fans, who actually trademarked all of the Vegas-related A's and Athletics names, hoping that this would come to fruition, that they would be the stoppage, not of the team moving, but of the team getting what it wants in the naming category. Pretty awesome. If this was the fans, if the fans did this, that rocks really hard. Idiot of the day, number 2. Actually, this starts with a breakout star. Breakout star. Theo Mackey. Young buck, young reporter, Cardinals beat writer, went to Michigan, from Washington, D.C. Shout out Addie, lives in D.C. For grilling the Cardinals ownership during a press conference. And the idiot of the day will be the Cardinals ownership for the disaster class that has ensued in Arizona with the Kyler Murray situation, the Gannon situation. Here is the question that Theo asked the ownership. He says, you said you flipped the roster. You think it's a talented roster. But when you look at it, there's not many positions where you guys are significantly above average. You've not acquired a Pro Bowler in your 3 seasons. What is it specifically about this roster, when you look at it, that you feel is above average and capable of competing in 2026? Great question, by the way. Great question. Takes what the GM has said, throws it back at him and says, you haven't had a Pro Bowler. You said you like the roster, talented roster, coach's fault, not the roster's fault. So then how do you justify that? GM says, yeah, I guess I would push back. What are we talking? We're talking PFF grades? I know everybody likes to live and die on those. Theo responds, just from watching the games and finishing 3-14. Nails. Great. The leadership of the Cardinals get to be the idiot of the day today. Theo Mackey, you are a winner. You are a winner. For the GM saying, like, all right, you don't think there's talent on the roster? What are you talking about, PFF? Like, no, I watched the season, and you finished 3-14. Great stuff. Legendary. Another idiot of the day in the books. How about this one? Addie, you and I had this conversation earlier. I'm going to bring it back up because you're a Texas Longhorns fan. Parker Livingston, idiot of the day. I need to get your thoughts on this because you are the Texas fan, the local Texas fan on the show. Parker Livingston plays the woe is me card. I've been kicked off the team. I must leave. I never wanted to leave. Come to find out, he wasn't told to leave. He was just given like $600,000 in NIL, and he wanted more, so he left to go get more. And Addie, he's going to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I've actually seen this before. It's been in a movie. It's called Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He's Anakin Skywalker.
Wow.
He's saying, oh, all these people have wronged me. No, they offered you money. But look at your stats, dude. You were the worst receiver in the back half of the season for the Longhorns. You can't, just drop the ball 13% of the time and be like, hey, you need to pay me more, okay? Like, if a waitress comes up and gives terrible service, I'm not going to tip them the full, I tip 25. That's my base.
25 is your
base?
base? Oh, whoa.
I used to be in the industry.
25 is your base?
Yeah.
All right, question. Timeout.
All
Before
right.
you land yourself on Idiot of the Day here. I as a former busboy, at the Hole in the Wall Cafe.
Well, I was a bartender. I was actually helping people.
Conway, Arkansas. A beer is $5, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A beer is $5. That's actually on the low end most places nowadays. Ugh, getting old. Is it not commonplace to tip $1 per drink if the beer is $5?
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I'll give you $2. Sue me.
Bang.
Sue me for
Wow.
being kind.
Okay, hold, pause, because 25% very generous. You just bought a $100 dinner. You're tipping $25?
Yep.
Wow.
Depending on the service.
Oh,
But you wanna know where that's got me?
whoa.
That's what I'm saying.
The
That's my
goalpost
base.
has moved.
We start there.
We're Tyler looping
That's why I
this
said
now.
we start there.
We're moving the goalpost a little bit. You're saying you start at 25% and that goes down. Now, I was thinking you're starting at 25 and it's going up.
I mean, it can go up for sure. I've developed relationships with, people. We went to Chewy's. The bartender there who's normally there, we're friends. Because we've developed a relationship as friends, maybe sometimes some stuff doesn't get added to the bill. Don't fire them, Chewy's, please.
No free ads, by the way. No free ads.
But that's what I'm saying. I just, if I never know what people are going through. I remember when I was a server, I could have used the extra $2. So you know what? If it's making other people happy and they're doing a great job, then I don't see the problem with it.
I am a professional 20% tipper. Ubers, sometimes 18%. I do a lot of those $50 Ubers from the airport in Dallas to wherever. It's a $50 Uber. I just 20%. It's 18 or 20%, somewhere in there. 25 is crazy. Credit to you. That's saintly. How did that? I'm sorry, I cut you off. How does that play into Parker Livingston going from Texas to Oklahoma?
I'm saying because he wants more money, but if you look at his stats from the season, he was not good. He was the 4th best receiver for the back half of the season. That's what I was saying. It's like a server. If you're not going to give good service, I'm not going to give you extra money.
Yeah.
Kind of how I feel about this. So, and on top of that, growing up as a Longhorn fan that he did, going over to Oklahoma, I mean, man, that's like being a Cowboys fan and then going to root for the Eagles, Red Sox, Yankees, Anakin Skywalker, a Sith.
Can we call someone a Sith? Are we allowed, FCC-wise, are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, I don't think that's a slur.
Okay, great. Thank you. Idiot of the day. I am going to put the Ravens' leadership in this category. And I know. You may be John in Baltimore. Well, there's one less John in Baltimore. Congrats. That pool is shrinking. You may be John in Baltimore right now, driving in your car thinking, it was time. It sucks. But at some point in every dog's life, you have to take them to the vet. And the day befalls us. Befalls us. John Harbaugh's playoff record prior to Lamar Jackson, 8-4. John Harbaugh's playoff record after Lamar Jackson, 3-6. I'm just saying. The question can be posed. Who do we point the finger at here? Is it Lamar for not winning in the postseason? Is it John Harbaugh for not winning in the postseason? Or is it just this unlucky string of happenstances for the Ravens? Like the whole Mark Andrews drop. There are so many, the fumbles, the amount of losses to the Steelers in big games. Do we have to pin that on John? Is John Harbaugh the guy that we fire? I don't know. Maybe. Final idiot of the day. Actually, an honorary mention here would be every NFL GM and owner that have helped do this. Each head coach to win Coach of the Year since 2016, not named Kevin O'Connell, has been fired. Matt Nagy, 2018 Coach of the Year. John Harbaugh in 2019. Stefanski wins it in 2020 and 2023. Mike Vrabel with the Titans in 2021. Brian Daboll was Coach of the Year. People forget in 2022. Each of those coaches have been fired. Kevin O'Connell is on the clock. You are next. The coach of the year. The coach of the year. Since 2018, all of them have been fired, aside from Kevin O'Connell. It's not a good thing. We're building a bad precedent in the National Football League. Final idiot of the day, Washington's quarterback, DeMond Williams. Not pronounced Demond. DeMond Williams. He is currently breaching his contract with the Huskies that he signed. And the Huskies are calling it a legally binding revenue share contract. They put out the graphic. DeMond Williams staying, playing quarterback for Washington. A Husky. He is. Bow down to Washington. Mighty are the men who wear the purple and the gold. Williams has agreed to the deal with the Huskies, and then a couple days later said, I'm joking. I'm joking. Come on. And DeMond Williams will enter the transfer portal unless Washington has anything to say about it. And they do. They said, dog, you just signed a contract to play for Jed Fish and the Huskies next year. You can't just go to LSU. Lane Kiffin is sitting at a basketball game last night, an LSU basketball game, with Sam Leavitt, the Arizona State quarterback, who got a reported $7 million offer from Kentucky. And then Kiffin's just on the phone like, oh, shoot, DeMond Williams is in the portal? Hello. It is. You can't do it in the National Football League, so it's stunning to me that you can do it in college football. You can do basically whatever you want. Those are our idiots of the day today. Parker Livingston of the Texas Longhorns, the Oakland A's for all the stuff that they're doing. Throw Brennan Carroll in there as well for being Brennan Carroll and the offensive line meeting behind his back this year with the Raiders because of how bad that whole situation was. Plenty of idiots to point their fingers at. You, my friend, driving in your car, John, in Baltimore. You, Kevin in Butte, Montana. You, Daryl in Spokane, Washington, are not an idiot of the day. You are my friend, and I thank you for being here. Westwood One Sports, it's the Westwood One app. You can get involved as well. 310-840-4910. That's the phone line. It's the text line, 310-840-4910. The segment was sponsored by Robinhood. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money.
30.
Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Tim Barbalace is the expert. No one knows more about the Baltimore Ravens. A man on the inside will give us the inside scoop on why John Harbaugh is gone. And the 7 teams, well, there are only 6 openings if you don't count the Ravens. The 7 teams
10.
that have reached out to Harbaugh about him being their future head coach. Westwood One Sports, Westwood One Sports app. That's coming up next. This is the Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One.
Bomba-dee-da, 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 until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling on till then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think about sunny weather. 2, 3, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Some trails are happy ones, other trails are blue. It's the way you ride that counts. Here's a happy one for you. Happy trails to you till we meet
Yep.
Here we go. Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. That is the song that would play if the Blackhawks scored more goals. Not a bad year. Right at 500 for the Blackhawks. Drake Toll with you from the Savannah Bananas organization. Locked on Big 12, Amazon Fire TV's college football kickoff, and the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One. John Harbaugh, no longer the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. This man is the expert on all things Baltimore Ravens. Tim Barbalace. Tim, is this move, and we were hearing 24, 48 hours prior to the Pittsburgh game that if that ended in a loss, John Harbaugh's job was on the line. Is this move a shock to you?
Is it a shock? I would say no. I think it's still jarring to get the news, right? Yeah. This is a coach that's been in the same spot for 18 years. That's an eternity. I don't care if you're talking football, if you're talking whatever sport. 18 years he's been in Baltimore. And the team experienced a ton of success. They made the playoffs 12 times. They went to the AFC Championship game 4 times. They won a Super Bowl. He's got the most road playoff wins in NFL history. But unfortunately for John Harbaugh, the Ravens, and their fans, that playoff success evaporated after Super Bowl 47. They only had the one conference championship appearance, and that was a couple years ago against the Chiefs, and that game was a debacle. They only have 3 playoff wins in the Lamar Jackson era, which just isn't good enough. And then when you look at this year, they were the preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl among various sports books, and to finish the year with a losing record, to finish the year 3-6 at home. That's the worst home record in Ravens franchise history. And also to get embarrassed in primetime, which has been a calling card for John Harbaugh in terms of winning big-time games in primetime. They were 22-3 in home primetime games entering this year. They finished the season 0-3 in home primetime games.
He is the expert on the Baltimore Ravens, Tim Barbalace, on the Drake Toll Show. Tim, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Give me the pulse of Ravens fans. Is John Harbaugh the villain?
I think people have been calling for John to go for quite a few years now, and it reached an inflection point at various different years. John Harbaugh was firmly on the hot seat in 2018, Lamar Jackson's rookie year, where they started the season 4-5. Joe Flacco got hurt. Lamar ended up going 6-1 down the stretch. They won the division. That saved John's job. But in recent years, I think a lot of fans lost it after that AFC Championship game, where the Ravens had the best team in football. The Ravens were home favorites against the Chiefs, and they laid an egg, and they opted not to lean into the ground game. Running backs had just 6 carries in that football game. And John Harbaugh was saying after halftime, hey, we're going to establish the run, and they never did. That being said, I think all Ravens fans, Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner, the organization, if they were told in 2008, hey, you're going to have an 18-year run here, you're going to win a heck of a lot more games than you lose, you're going to win a Super Bowl, I think everyone would have signed up for that. But it's time for a change. There's no denying that. It was time to move on.
Tim, there are all kind of what-ifs from what happened on Sunday night with the Steelers and the Ravens, but I'm going to give you the most prevalent one that I think most people in America are questioning today, and that's 12 seconds, 13 seconds to go. If you run Derrick Henry for 5 more yards, you call your timeout, and then Tyler Loop drains the field goal. Are we having this conversation right now, or are we having this conversation in a week? Was it inevitable, win or lose Sunday, that Harbaugh would no longer be in Baltimore?
Well, based on the reporting, it sounded like the Ravens needed to go on a pretty dramatic run for them to not make a move at head coach. And I think even if they would have beat the Steelers and let's just say they would have lost to the Texans, I think you're prolonging it by a week. I just think this was time. This is coming at a critical juncture in Lamar Jackson's career. Lamar, it's his birthday today. He turned 29 years old. So he's still in the window of his prime, but if you were going to make a move, it probably had to be at this point. And now I think the fascinating question is, where do they go in terms of head coach? Do you go with a rookie guy? Do you go with someone with experience? But make no mistake about it, this is by far and away the most attractive job opening in the NFL.
One man's fired John Harbaugh is another man's hired John Harbaugh. I think it's great that there are 6 openings outside of Baltimore, and 7 different organizations have reached out to Harbaugh about coaching their team. Multiple sources are now reporting. Is this a coach that has lost his fastball, or is an NFL team going to pick up a guy in John Harbaugh who can be rejuvenated into a Super Bowl caliber head coach elsewhere?
Well, it's something we've been talking about a lot locally on 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore is the fact that where did John Harbaugh come from before coming to Baltimore? It was Philadelphia. Who did he work under? It was Andy Reid. Could John Harbaugh parallel what Andy Reid went through? Andy Reid got ran out of Philadelphia. Andy Reid was extremely successful in Philadelphia, couldn't get over the hump. John Harbaugh, he did win a Super Bowl. The Eagles moved on from Andy Reid, which is a tough decision. But it worked out pretty well for both parties, right? The Eagles, They won multiple Super Bowls. Andy Reid got a dynasty in Kansas City. I think when you're talking about John Harbaugh, one of his best attributes is whatever team he goes to, he is going to significantly raise the floor of that organization, that they are going to be competitive. They are going to be in it. Now, has he lost his fastball? He did in Baltimore. I think it's fair to say, did the message get stale? Did he lose some of those guys in the locker room? Sure. But he was there 18 years. I just think this could be a situation where John's reinvigorated. He goes to an organization that maybe needs a bit of a culture change, much like it was in 2008 when he came to Baltimore. I think John absolutely could experience success elsewhere.
Tim Barbalace joining the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One. Tim is the host of Baltimore Football Daily, the Ravens pregame show. You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who knows more about the Baltimore Ravens. And I think the reason this storyline is so big for me is the next head coach of this franchise will get the keys to Lamar Jackson. He'll get the keys to a roster that could potentially win the Super Bowl, a quarterback that could win the Super Bowl. So the question on my mind is, how do you, if John Harbaugh had lost the fastball in Baltimore, where do you go to grab a coach that can win and win very fast? Because Lamar is still in his prime, but won't be forever. Where does Baltimore turn?
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the question that I was asking in terms of how do they view this? Because this is much different than 2008 when John Harbaugh came in, where the team's in a much different spot. Ravens didn't have a quarterback at that time. They ended up drafting Joe Flacco a few months later, but no one thought that they would experience the immediate success that they did. The next coach that comes to Baltimore, whether it's a rookie, whether it's an experienced guy, it's a win now job, man. Like you can't ease into this in Baltimore. This is, you have Lamar Jackson in the prime of his career, and you need to win now. And I think Clint Kubiak, do you want him? Chris Shula, the younger guys along those lines. Brian Flores' name has been thrown out a lot. We know how that ended poorly in Miami, but a guy that's been in Pittsburgh and Minnesota since then. Heck, I know some Ravens fans wouldn't be for it, but I think Kevin Stefanski and the job he did in Cleveland.
Bingo.
If you can win Coach of the Year twice in Cleveland, win a playoff game in Cleveland, I think you should get a statue built for you. So I think Stefanski being an offensive mind is someone that I'm keeping an eye on as well. But the Ravens are going to have their pick, man. Like they are going to have their pick of who they want because of just how this franchise is seen in such a great light, because of the stability. You don't have to worry about coming here and think about, oh, geez, is my owner going to fire me after 1 year? There's been 3 coaches in Ravens franchise history. So you don't have to worry about crazy ownership. Steve Bisciotti is very well respected in the NFL.
When our producer, Addie Bates, said that Tim Barbalace would be on the show, she did not tell me that Tim Barbalace would preach. And Kevin Stefanski has been the name that I brought up a couple times today. I think it would be a great fit in Baltimore. Tim, before we let you go, I have a story. If you'll lend me your ear for a second here. I was at a wedding now 3 months ago in Houston, Texas, and I was getting wine, as one does at a wedding, and I hear a siren. It sounded like the goal horn of the Dallas Stars, which that's the point in time where you probably put down the wine glass. I did not. I returned to the ballroom, and the Dallas Stars mascot has walked into the wedding and is being tossed up in the air. my big fat Greek wedding style. And wonderful surprise, moments later, in walks the Chick-fil-A cow, handing out Chick-fil-A sandwiches at this wedding. I would love to know the budget of the wedding. It was in a castle. The wedding was in a castle. In walks the Chick-fil-A cow handing out sandwiches, which leads to my final and most pressing question. What is the weirdest thing you were forced to do, Tim, as the former Chick-fil-A cow?
Man, you got insight that I dressed up as a Chick-fil-A cow?
Insider info. We did a lot of research for this, Tim.
Yeah, so that did happen. So I've been at the station where I've been at for since I was 18, and I'm 30 now, so 12 years with that quick math. And I was a promotions assistant, and we were doing a players show. I think it was for Jacoby Jones and yeah, the Chick-fil-A cow was there, and they were like, "Hey, man, do you want to get in the cow costume?" And as any 18 or 19-year-old would answer, like, "Heck yeah, man, I'm down to clown." So I was amongst the people, greeting everybody as the Chick-fil-A cow.
Once again, dudes rock. You've proven that time and time again. It is inevitable. Dudes rock. Tim Barbalace, thanks so much for joining the Drake Toll Show, and folks can find him Inside Access 2 to 6, 105.7 The Fan at the Ravens pregame show, Baltimore Football Day. Where can you not find him? Tim, thanks so much.
Of course, anytime.
Love it. Love Stefanski take from Tim. Love the ball knowledge of a guy who was formerly the Chick-fil-A cow for one instance and one instance only. We were not given the information that it was a one-off. I was told specifically he was the Chick-fil-A cow, which there are many that walk among us. There are heroes you see every day that you have no idea they've once been that cow. I love the Stefanski take from him. I think that is a head coach that will walk in and win now. That is a head coach that if, like Dan Campbell went to Detroit, and Detroit said, hey, if we're going to be serious, we need to give Dan Campbell a playoff caliber roster. We need to give him something to work with, and they've given him something to work with, and it has overall worked out for an organization that has been bad the last few decades. For the Browns, who've been bad forever, for the Browns who have been bad up until Kevin Stefanski takes them to the playoffs twice in the span of a couple of years, they fire that guy. He now, to me, is an avenue to grab a Dan Campbell out of this coaching search, bring him into Baltimore, plug and play, win right away. Stefanski, for me, if I'm a Baltimore fan, would make me, we're hiring a coach that had 5 wins this year. Yeah, we're talking about the Browns. We're talking about the guy who coached the Browns. With serious context. And for ball knowers of the world, you would bring Stefanski into Baltimore and say, A, that's really good. B, if I'm anybody else in this league, if I am a Jaguars fan, if I am a Steelers fan, if I'm a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, the last thing I want to see personally would be Stefanski as the head coach in Baltimore, because I believe that marriage would equate to wins. Roy Philpott, ESPN, college football playoff, the NFL, and one of the boldest takes I've ever seen a human being tweet. Roy tweeted something that I cannot get past, and I will press him on it because you're probably wondering the exact same thing. Why did he tweet that? I'll give you more. You'll get the context. You'll learn what he tweeted and why it's crazy on the other side. This is Westwood One, the Westwood One Sports app. This is the Drake Toll Show.
Go on trial just for laughing at the joke, just for saying of the bargain what any sales girl already knows. Most of us old men die at the firing line, just waiting for our number to be called. I guess time just makes fools of us all. gals his stepson when he's loaded as a gun. Says a real man is like a country. You need a map to find your one. Now I do you suppose you must approach the throne with its back up against the wall. I guess time just makes fools of us all. Minds of my generation gladly conscripted in the war of defending any Goliath that would deign darken the door. Now with your genius for picking battles, it's no wonder every helmet is too small. I guess time just makes fools of us all. I guess time just makes fools of us all. My drink is watered down. The champ is on his knees. He lost the rematch. He lost the comeback. He lost for charity, but that's the job. It's what gets the asses in the hall. They came for a beating, and he came to brawl. Notice that of all the young gods I have known, yours is easily the least famous to turn down the cover of a Rolling Stone. Lily white faces, so familiar and yet impossible to recall. I guess time just makes fools of us all. After a millennia of good times, God said, hey now, let's have a dream where we raise the stakes a little. Come on, let's make things interesting. Parachute into the Anthropocene, an amnesiac, a himbo can doll. I guess time does make fools of us all.
Come on now, give it to me. Drake Toll, the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Do you feel it? College football playoff, the NFL, college basketball, the NBA. It's the perfect combination. January 7th hits, and I just think there are sports all around us. We are surrounded in an era where people want to tell you, oh, I hate watching the college football is dead, the NFL, the NBA. It is a beautiful thing when you stop and you smell the sports. Roy Philpott, ESPN, joins the Drake Toll Show right here, right now. Roy, before we start, I'm going to come in guns a-blazing here because you tweeted on January 1st, 2:05 p.m. Eastern Time, y'all need to trust kickers more. Roy, mere days later, Sunday night, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, do we walk that tweet back?
Oh, a little bit. Yeah, Drake, I think that's fair. Just watching what's happened in football, though, in the last couple of years, everybody's just so crazy on fourth down, and they lean on the analytics, and sometimes the analytics, I feel like they lie to you a little bit. So I think that was the reason for the tweet. And, kicking has gotten better, all right? I mean, we trust kickers in the NFL now back to almost 70 yards. But, yeah, watching the end of that Baltimore-Pittsburgh game, it kind of reminds you of what happens when things go awry. And look, the fate of several organizations and several head coaches came down to that 44-yard miss by Loop. So, yeah, that was crazy. We're not walking it back, though. I'm a former high school kicker.
Nice.
Love kickers, support kickers. I'm here to stand up for kickers nationwide.
Always trust the college kickers, as they say. That is the adage. We'll keep it there. College football playoff. And the underlying story, it's not even it's the overlying storyline in Miami and Ole Miss before the game tomorrow. It is Lane Kiffin's leash on this coaching staff and how he has approached the way that Ole Miss and LSU are handling now the offseason for the Tigers and a playoff run for the Rebels. This is Roy, there was Cassius was a Roman emperor, and he would start fires in buildings because he had his own brigade, the only fire brigade in town, and he would pay money while the building was on fire to buy the building, then have his people he would have them extinguish the fire. And then he just owned the building and would sell it for profit. Like we're looking at Lane Kiffin. He's the fire starter in this. And Ole Miss is not getting the spotlight they deserve. What do you make of the coaching situation for the Rebels, given how Lane Kiffin is controlling some of that staff that's splitting time?
Well, it's interesting because two of the offensive staff members for Ole Miss have now been relegated back to LSU, and they're not allowed to go back and continue to run in Oxford. But I think most importantly, Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive play caller, still is. Running backs coach also is still part of that mix, I believe. So, I mean, it is interesting. I am getting a little tired of the Lane Kiffin narrative. Like, the fact is, Ole Miss is 8 quarters away from winning a national championship. What happens if that happens? How does Lane Kiffin feel in that moment if it goes down that way? So, that's something I've been thinking about. But Lane Kiffin, it's like 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon back in the day. He just seems to come back into college football no matter what the conversation is. And it's getting a little old. We need to recognize what Ole Miss has done, what Pete Golding has done, the greatness that is Trinidad Chambliss. And look, arguably, Drake, he's the hottest quarterback still playing college football right now, including Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback for Indiana. The comeback that he initiated and led against Georgia is one for the ages because I don't think any of us felt like that was coming. Then it did. He turns into Patrick Mahomes. He's dropping dimes in the bucket deep down the field on that critical drive late. So don't let Lane Kiffin steal the sunlight, the sunshine, the glory that is Trinidad Chambliss right now. Look, I think Ole Miss has a great chance to quote-unquote upset Miami. They're about a 3-point underdog in this game. I don't know if the wrong team is favored in this one. I really believe that. So I'm curious. And then let's see how Lane feels if Ole Miss plays for a national championship in 12 days. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be nuts. I've met my quota for Lane Kiffin references now, so we're good. That just it feels anybody you turn on radio or TV, that is the number one storyline of this game, and it should not be. It should be, as you mentioned, Trinidad Chambliss and company and the defense of Ole Miss that could win them a national championship. On the other side, speaking of defense, Indiana has been suffocating this year. I had a conversation with Coach Gary Patterson, the TCU legend, yesterday, and he said, look, it's not exotic blitzes. It's just that Indiana is better than you. BTA, they are better than you. Roy, is this the national championship Indiana Hoosiers in 12 days?
Yeah, I mean, they should be the team that's favored, right? I mean, they just don't make mistakes. They don't have any miscues. Like, there's no missed assignments. Whether that's Omar Cooper, Fernando Mendoza, you mentioned that defense. They're exactly where they're supposed to be. They're gap sound. They make tackles in the open field. Go back and watch that Oregon game and their victory in Eugene in the first matchup between these two, and they just don't have any missteps whatsoever. It starts at the top with Kurt Signetti. You can't speak highly enough about the incredible job he's done there. And I don't think that that's just miraculously going to dissipate now that they get a rematch with Oregon. I think Oregon's got to play the game of its life. Dante Moore can't make any mistakes. I just don't see it happening. I can't recall a team that is playing with this kind of precision. And, like, that's really the word on both sides of the ball. The way they smashed Alabama on both sides of the ball in that Rose Bowl win, like, they're just gaining strength, it feels like. So, look, Indiana should be favored against Oregon, and they are. Indiana should be favored to win the national championship. I assume that they are. I can't recall a team that's playing like this. I mean, and I said this back in the middle part of the regular season, Drake, that it felt like Indiana had turned into the new Alabama. And then people tweeted at me, wait a second, they haven't won anything, haven't done anything yet. I'm like, no, you're missing the point. Their dominance this year and how they obliterate teams. And look, Alabama didn't want to play in the second half of that game. You heard that in the call from Kirk Herbstreit. He saw it, hands were on the hips with the defense. They had checked out. That's what Indiana does to you. And it's amazing because we're not talking about basketball. This is a football school now in Bloomington, and it's all thanks to Kurt Signetti and the great job he's done. I think they are the clear favorite to win the national title, and I'll be curious if anybody can get in their way, including Oregon coming up here, this Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
He's a college football expert, ESPN's Roy Philpott, joining the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports. Roy, when I was in high school, 3/5 of our graduating class were female. So when prom came around in the spring, there weren't enough guys to go around. Some ladies got left off the table, couldn't even go to prom. Heck, I was part of the problem, man. I took a girl to prom from BB. My buddy took one from Greenbrier. We were going to different towns, right? It was just, we were part of the issue. There are nearly 4,000 players in the transfer portal right now, and I suffice to say 25% of them might not get invited to prom. It feels like this system is so broken, there will be a large portion of college football players who do not know it yet, but have played their last snap. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is correct. Yeah. And I don't know if the system is broken, but I hate using the phrase guardrails. Like, we need more things put into place that protect ourselves from ourselves, if that makes sense. And, do we limit the transfers to a one-time deal where maybe you can go anywhere as quickly as you want to without penalty, and then after you do it the first time, then there's that 1 year waiting period where you're not allowed to play? I'm not sure what the solution is, but your point, I think there's more than that. If we have 4,000 in the portal, there's going to be more than 25% that don't end up with a team because it just starts to come down to sheer mathematics with incoming freshmen and everything else. So, no, we do need some more systematic guardrails across the board in college sports. It starts with the CBA, collective bargaining, like what we see in professional sports. That would be a step in the right direction because the current model, and I think we all understand this, is unsustainable in terms of payments, revenue, and everything that's happening with these players. Yes, they deserve to get paid. Make no mistake about it. I'm not the get off my lawn guy, that kind of deal. But we need systems put into play that make more sense than what we have right now. And it's such a mess. There's no true leadership at the top. We don't have that college football czar, and it's just going to take some time for us to get there. But 4,000 in the portal, look, there's going to be more than 1,000 that don't end up anywhere. And in addition to that, these guys are trying to level up and move up a level. More times than not, that doesn't happen. You're going to end up in a worse spot or maybe a level below where you were. So something to consider. We only hear about the big stories, like Damon Williams at Washington or Sam Levitt, where he's going to go. Some of these other high-profile quarterbacks that are making $5 million, like Brandon Sorsby at Texas Tech. But, man, there's hundreds of other players where it doesn't end nearly as well as what we're talking about with those guys.
Roy Philpott, ESPN, joining the Drake Toll Show. Roy, 2025 in college football, there were storylines that I think the country overlooked, like a Bear Bachmeier, freshman quarterback at BYU, the entire debacle that happens with Jake Retzlaff, and he leads his team to the Big 12 championship. They're on the doorstep of the college football playoff. There are those stories that get lost in the big headlines like a Lane Kiffin or like an Indiana Kurt Signetti, and those deserve their flowers. Those deserve attention. But what did the country miss? What happened in 2025 before we get you out of here in college football that you thought, wow, I wish everybody could appreciate this, but we overlooked it?
Well, it's unfortunate Notre Dame didn't make the college football playoff because I think they're a team that had the ability with Jeremiah Love and the development of C.J. Carr, we kind of missed the boat that Notre Dame didn't get a chance. I thought we missed the boat that Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, didn't get a chance to go to the playoff. I called the ReliaQuest poll, seeing Iowa in person, even though they lost 4 games. They lost 4 games, all against ranked foes, all by 1 score.
Yeah.
That was a team that I saw that day on New Year's Eve in Tampa that was capable of winning a couple of games in the playoffs. So I say all of that. What did we miss? We missed a 16-team playoff, which I think is coming next year. I think college football the last 2 years has proven that there are more teams available in this thing. I would argue South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Bama last year, 2 years ago now, at the end of the 2024 season, they were good enough to go to the playoff and win some games. I can think of Utah, Texas, Vanderbilt, Iowa, Notre Dame this year. I think those teams would have been very, very difficult outs in a college football playoff. So what did we miss? We missed 16 teams. I think we get it next year. I don't know how much it expands after that, but I think in this new era, there's so much parity. Teams aren't able to stockpile talent the way that they used to, like Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia. A lot of those 5-stars sitting on the bench are now spread all across the country. You mentioned BYU and Bear Bachmeier. Texas Tech has them. There's a ton of schools that now have them. And so we need to expand the playoff. That's what we miss, in my opinion. And next year, I think when we get there, you're going to see teams before the end of this decade that are the 15 seed, the 16 seed, that are able to make runs in this thing. I don't know that it comes out of the group of 5 per se, but I think these other Power 4 teams that just missed the field recently, they're going to be back, and they're going to have those chances, and they're going to have realistic chances to get to the national championship game and win a national title in the coming season. So that's really one thing that sticks out to me, but I think next year we'll take a massive step in that direction. We're going to find out this month, too. Commissioners are going to come together. Deadline, I believe, is January 23rd. I think this will come together quickly. We'll get to 16, but I think we missed it this year and last.
Roy, I'm not sure if Daryl in Pullman understands that was free for him. Like what you just gave us about college football was completely free on the radio, and stroke of genius talking. Like we watched Texas beat A&M that last week of the regular season, and then that team did not have a shot to play in the tournament. It is a tournament. We are crowning a national champion who is best fit to win a tournament now in college football. Texas certainly could have been that. Roy Philpott, ESPN, thank you so much for joining the Drake Toll Show.
Thank you, Drake. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Free for you. Are you kidding me? I turned my radio on in Little Rock, Arkansas. I turned my radio on in Joplin, Missouri. Just outside in Aurora, Illinois, yeah, just outside of Chicago. I turn my radio on, and Roy Philpott is giving me the exact perfect way to encompass what we missed in college football this year, and that was Team 15, Team 13, to prove that they are the best tournament-suited football team. Yeah, you might lose to Florida, and I think Texas should not have gotten into the 12 team. Yeah, you might be a Notre Dame outside looking in because you lost 2 games early in the season. Yes, I get it. Win the games and you'll be in, no doubt. But to have those teams outside of a playoff where they could have been the best tournament-suited team in the country, the best team in the country for 3 games, for 4 games, playing at their best, like Texas and Arch Manning toward the end of the year. I am not a defender of those teams getting into the postseason in the current format, but I am a defender of expanding the format to give those teams an opportunity, like Ohio State winning last season as the 8 seed, the 9 seed. Like this year, Miami having a shot at a national championship as the 10 seed. It is opportunity and access in the college football playoff that must expand to get the right teams, to get the right brands, to get the right players that can win the tournament in. And I'm not sure if we had that conglomerate this year. God, yeah. That's Roy Philpott making music in your ears. Free. Beautiful. Coming up, John Harbaugh was fired. Matt Eberflus was fired. Heck, who's next? Me? Maybe. Hopefully not. We'll recap it and give you our take on the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, as well as Weird Wednesday. The wildest headlines, the wildest stories that are unbelievably true from the last 48 hours. Yep. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good and still free for you. Westwood One Sports, Westwood One app. This is the Drake Toll Show.
Wild
was young, my mama read me nursery rhymes beside my bed. And though they sounded mighty fine, they made no sense to me. Now that I am all grown up, it seems my nights have changed as such. So I went out and made me up a nursery rhyme for me. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. Hey diddle diddle, the man with the fiddle and the girl sing along with the tunes. Just one more dance till you turn out the lights and you can shut down this saloon. You know, I never understood how a big old gal could raise no kids in a shoe. And any old jack goes jumping a candle needs to find something better to do. And a rub-a-dub-dub 3 minute a tub sure sounds kind of funny to me. So I made up a honky-tonk nursery rhyme and it's the only one I'll sing. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. Hey diddle diddle, the man with the fiddle and the girl sing along with the tunes. Just one more dance till you turn out the lights and you can shut down this saloon.
I got a sweet little body and she's rolling in the caddy with me.
Let's do it. You and me. Me and you. It's the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, the Drake Toll Show YouTube, Twitter. You can find it wherever. What happened? When did we become, who? When you were a kid or when you were a young adult or when you were alive 15 years ago, you would turn the radio on, right? And it was never, hey, we have a radio show. Go watch our YouTube channel. It was, we have a radio show. We do radio. And I'm deprecating myself here. But one of the first things, the question that is asked now in radio in this industry is, well, will there be a YouTube channel? Will there be a video element? Will they be able to see me do the radio? When did that happen? When did we become, I must see it? For me to listen to it, I must see it. Or it must be in podcast form. Radio is just a more fun way to do podcasting. Because for podcasts, an hour a week, true crime. The murderer went to prison. It happens at the end of every true crime podcast. And solved. It was the ex-boyfriend. Radio is the react live. It's the get it live. It's the we'll do it live. There's something about that. I feel like we're missing it. We lost that a bit. But we're back. We're here. The Drake Toll Show. Drake Toll with you. Savannah Bananas organization. Locked on Big 12. College football kickoff on Amazon Fire TV. Speaking of fired. John Harbaugh, no longer the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Kevin Stefanski needs to be the call. You mean Kevin Stefanski, the guy that won 5 games last year? Yes. That Kevin Stefanski, the coach of the Browns. With context, you learn that Kevin Stefanski may be one of the better head coaches in the entire NFL. If you can go to the postseason, if you can go to the playoffs with the Cleveland Browns, I trust you to babysit my kids, which I do not have. I trust you with my social security number. I trust you with the passwords to all of my accounts. That is, if we're talking trust, we're talking to the guy who went to the playoffs with the Browns. Another Dan Campbell. An opportunity to bring a guy in who is not going to make too much noise, who is going to walk in the front door of an organization primed to win a Super Bowl. This is not a rebuild coach. This is a Super Bowl coach. You cannot hire the rebuild coach. Well, Stefanski helped rebuild the Browns. Yes, he helped rebuild the Browns. I'm not saying that rebuilding is bad. I'm saying you need a winner, and Stefanski is a winner. Don't go hire Mike McCarthy. Well, he won the Super Bowl. No, do not go hire Mike McCarthy. Stefanski's the guy. Can Kubiak be the guy? Possibly. Would McDonald ever come back? Ooh. These are questions. These are questions. The 64-year-old John Harbaugh, who's now in search of another job. And look, I don't think he's a bad coach. I know he's not a bad coach. I know he's a good coach. He's going to go somewhere else. I still find it very funny. There are 6 total openings, not including the Ravens, 6 openings, and he's been called for 7 jobs. That 7th GM, what a wily one. John Harbaugh out. Lane Kiffin. Trinidad Chambliss is going to stay at Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss wants to stay at Ole Miss despite Lane Kiffin leaving. Here's what Trinidad Chambliss had to say about staying with Ole Miss.
At the end of the day, I just made the right decision, and that was, to stick with my gut. And, Ole Miss has been good to me, and I feel like I owe it to Ole Miss. And, I just love it here, and I love the community. So that was, the right choice.
If he gets the waiver, he'll play next season for the Ole Miss Rebels, in spite of Lane Kiffin, who left. And then half the people, it seems like the people who have their wits about them are LSU pun, are staying at Ole Miss. Pete Golding to Trinidad Chambliss, who could get an extra year of college eligibility. And you may be thinking, oh, well, of course, they're going to give him more eligibility. That's all we do nowadays. No, he played at Ferris State, transferred up to Ole Miss, was the backup, is super loyal, became the starter early in the season, like 3 games in, and was a star. Trinidad Chambliss will make your favorite NFL team very happy, and he'll make the Ole Miss Rebels very happy next season if he's granted a waiver. We gave you our biggest losers, like Matt Nagy with the Chiefs, or Shedeur Sanders as the worst quarterback worst single season by a quarterback in Browns history, saying a lot. Matt Eberflus fired. Washington cleaning house. Dan Quinn cleaning house with his coordinators. And Drake Maye and Bo Nix. Kevin Harlan coming on this show to tell you that Bo Nix and Drake Maye have transformed the league. I did forget one biggest loser, and I think that those biggest losers are the passionate LinkedIn users. Sorry. Can I tell you something from the heart, the mind, the voice of a young buck here? If you're living on LinkedIn and your posts sound like the one I'm about to read for you, this is a problem. This is a problem. This is the last piece of advice I'll give you before Weird Wednesday. This post reads, I have some hashtag personal news. Rocket ship emoji. I am beyond hashtag humbled and deeply moved, wonderfully excited, and fully grateful, and over the hashtag moon, to announce that I have accepted a new position. Now, here's the hashtag why behind this. Most people see a job. I see a human-centric audio architect, a sentient being of hashtag voice and hashtag vernacular. This is about synergizing, leveraging, scaling. I've spent the last 48 hours in deep reflection on my hashtag journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the hashtag grind set of talking to myself in a padded room while the rest of the world enjoys hashtag sleep, a legacy concept I've officially disrupted. To my hashtag tribe, thank you for the support. To my new hashtag team, let's shift the paradigm. I'm ready to show up, show out, dive deep, and be the hashtag thought leader your car speakers never asked for. That's my LinkedIn post. Announcing Westwood One, that I'm a radio host now. Hashtag career update and hashtag humbled. Also, I did include in there hashtag Drake Toll. We'll see if it gets any hits. And the comments on this is the first Weird Wednesday. The comments are terrible. Someone puts, congratulations, you're so very talented. Someone puts, very cool, Drake. Someone puts, so excited. The next person, awesome, my man. Do they not know? Can they not see? Happy for you. Can they not see? I'm trying to make fun. I'm trying to poke at big LinkedIn, at the people on LinkedIn who frustrate me every day because they hashtag grind set, virtual sales. my plea to you as I end my sports show today is that when you log on the LinkedIn app, you just log right back off. I met a guy one time on a tour of Waco. Wild sentence, by the way, right there. On a tour of Waco, Texas. I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a job with the Savannah Bananas. Yeah, sweet. I know their owner. I love his LinkedIn. I was like, wow. There are LinkedIn famous people that walk among us. I'm just warning you. I'm trying. You can make connections. You can be on there, and maybe it's good for you. But most of the posts are written by AI. Speaking of Weird Wednesday, an AI-generated police report has gone viral for people believing it was true. On Facebook, the report claims a Utah police officer was turned into a frog. The comments, hilarious. How did this happen? Oh my gosh. Wow, is this true? I think this is AI. That's great. That is spectacular. Weird Wednesday. Weirdest headlines from across the country in the last 48 hours. A Utah police officer was not turned into a frog. Please, the second you log off of LinkedIn, do not log on to Facebook. Do not log on to Facebook and believe that any police officers were mythically turned into amphibians. Reptile? No, amphibian. Woman in San Francisco, boom, baby, gave birth in a self-driving Waymo taxi. That's what happens in 2025. No, 2026. That's what happens. We lost sight of human beings. We said we want the robots to do it all for us. We want the robots to drive our cars. And then your water breaks. And you're in a Waymo. Who are you supposed to tell? It's an automatic car. What do? You're stuck until you get to your location. You just have to have the baby in the back. The San Francisco woman gave birth in a self-driving car. We let the robots take over. We let the robots win. Firefighters in Rhode Island rescued a cow that fell through the ice of a frozen pond. Not sure it's in there. Not sure how weird that is, but they rescued him. So, positive end to what it could have been a terrible story. Also on the cow-themed show, Tim Barbalace joined earlier. He was the Chick-fil-A cow for an event. An adventurous cow escaped and was found taking an unauthorized stroll in the road in a California neighborhood. We got to get better headlines than this. Google did me wrong today. This happens. I grew up in Valonia, Arkansas. That was just a Wednesday. That's what we called Wednesday when the cows were in the road. Highway 64, driving to school. I was 7 miles from school, 8 miles from school. I could get there in probably 5-6 minutes. 6-7 minutes. Come on. Your kid's in the car doing the thing, isn't he? Yep. There would be cows and tractors. I would tell Miss Montgomery, the office aide, I would say, hey, I'm sorry I'm late today. I'm 5 minutes late. I was behind a tractor, and I was behind a tractor. Happened often. A deer trapped in a Wisconsin basement for 2 days was successfully removed. If you have a room in your house that you don't go in for 2 days, it's time to rethink that room. Time to rethink that basement. Congrats to the deer on its rescue. Runaway dog near the New Jersey Turnpike was found by a drone rescue team. You know what? I take it back. I was mean to the robots. Because the Waymo pregnant lady. Credit to the drone rescue team for finding this dog on the Jersey Turnpike. And then approximately 2,397, or approximately 2,397, it's a pretty exact number right there, golden retrievers gathered in an Argentina park for a world record attempt. Doesn't tell me if they broke it. Just says they tried. Credit to you. Thanks for playing. That's Weird Wednesday. I don't think anything's going to beat the San Francisco woman who had a baby in the self-driving car. Who do you tell? Pull over. It can't. It's self-driving. Curtis Poindexter runs the board out in California. He plays all the audio. Good dude. Stand-up guy. Kind of guy you let date your daughter. Addie Bates. She produces from Washington, D.C. I'm Drake Toll with you. Home studio, Savannah, Georgia. Thanks to Westwood One. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. This has been, it always will be. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. It's the Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One.